My biggest fear would be when the first comes and I don't get the rent.
I found that my tenant had dumped concrete down my toilet. Can you believe Fair Housing fined me $5,000 for that?
How do you onboard your tenants? What do you do?
I don't even know if I do it right. If you're a landlord, don't just rent, rent perfect. The Rent Perfect podcast with property expert and private investigator, David Pickron.
Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of the Rent Perfect podcast. I'm David Pickron here today with my good friend, Scot Aubrey. Scott, how are you?
Amazing.
Well,
right?
Always
amazing.
I appreciate you coming back, being close friends with you and business partners with you for a long time. And we talked about kind of copywriting and doing ads last time. And I come across a topic that I really wanted to discuss with someone, but I didn't really know an expert kind of in this field other than you're an expert just by your demeanor, and that is conflict resolution.
Thank you.
Right?
I try, yeah.
It just seems to me that, around our office, our friends, everyone seems to come to you because they feel like you just, I think, handle situations better than me. I'm a little jealous of that, right?
Hey, I'm not going to brag.
I'm a little bit more of a reactor. I'm a little bit more of I've got other things on my mind. I just want to solve a problem and move on to the next one.
Yeah.
And sometimes I don't slow down enough and kind of like take it in and help somebody through, the issues that they're having. And as a landlord, I have issues come to me all the time. And I still want to build on this trust and transparent and good relationship with my residents. Now, I'm not best friends with them. I don't want to become best friends with them, but I still want to be a good, open, transparent landlord. But I got to be tough sometimes.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
So a friend of mine, Mark Delfini, kind of told me about a kind of something he uses in his head because he's kind of an analytical like me, and he calls it LEARN.
Okay, what is it? That's an acronym for something, right?
Yeah, it is. So L is for listen, E is for empathy, which I struggle at, right? I got to really work on that E.
Yeah.
A is apologize, R is restate, and then the N is notify. And so now what I'm trying to do is I get someone who calls me or does something. I'm trying to go through these steps and slow down for a second so I'm better at conflict resolution, okay? You're my expert because I think it's been bred into you.
I think it's just a natural thing for me. I don't go through any process, but it's just a natural thing for me to listen, to feel sorry for you or help you feel sorry for it, to apologize for that happening, and then to try and help you make a plan of action moving forward.
It takes an acronym for me to logically do it. Hey. It just comes natural for you. So decide on who's watching this podcast, where you fit in all this. But for you who kind of just react like I do, I really wanted to give you something that really helped me. Now, let me tell you how it helped me. I took a phone call the other day, and it was a neighbor to one of my single-family homes.
Okay.
And he was a little sheepish at first, but he was kind of not happy. And he said, "Do you own the house at so-and-so and so-and-so?" And at first I thought it was like some sales call I'm getting every day. And I almost just hung up the phone. Yeah. But for some reason, something was a little different about this tone. And I just said, "Yeah, I do. I own the home over there." "Okay, great. Your tenant's kids are going across the street and they're taking a hatchet to a mature tree that's beautiful, and it keeps the neighborhood looking good in value, and they're over there whacking away on a tree."
Okay. So what's your natural response to that? Like your immediate response?
Well, why don't you go talk to the kids?
Right.
Why don't you go next door and talk to why are you looking me up like under the county records, and then a name like David Pickron, I'm easy to find, right? And so my first initial feeling was like, why are you calling me? But I remember this. And I'm like, okay, this kind of works for me. And I use this in a lot of places. Okay. So I listened to him and I said, we want that neighborhood to stay nice because we want our property values to stay up. We need those big trees. You can't replace those big trees. No, you can't replace those big trees, right? I said, well, I apologize that my residents, their kids, are out there doing that. But let me get this clear. Yesterday, no, it was 2 days ago. Okay, so 2 days ago, you saw my neighbor's kids with a hatchet cutting down this tree. Yes. Okay. Let me contact the parents and let me make sure that my residents are not destroying our neighborhood. That's important to me, and I know it's important to you. So I went through, I listened, I empathized. I apologized. I restated, make sure I had the facts straight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I notified him that I'm going to go ahead and tell, or have a conversation with it. Because the reality is what else is going through my mind is here comes the letter from the HOA. Right? Here comes, you got to go buy at least a 24-inch box tree, which is $200. I'm starting to go, how is this going to affect me, right? Plus out in front of my house, I'm seeing a tree like cut down.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular neighborhood, there are like all these same trees lined up in a row, and they're really pretty the way you kind of drive into. You're familiar with the neighborhood, but just for people here on the podcast, if one tree's down, it's going to be like tree, empty for space. It's not going to be symmetrical. So I'm going through this whole thing going like, what are these? So I'm picturing these rowdy kids, these, this old man comes out, quit cutting down the tree, and I'm going through this thing in my head.
And what are they doing to your house with those hatchets, right?
And honestly, my residents and their kids were guilty in my head by the time I got done with this phone call.
Judge and jury, they're done.
They were done. Yeah. So I'm ready to call over there, and so I get a hold of the resident who's been there for about 5 years. Been a good resident, been a good relationship. But when I first rented to her kids were younger, and I don't know how they've grown up, and I haven't, I don't know the kids real well, right?
Are they those kids?
Are they? Yeah, right. Exactly. So I call her up, and I'm like, hey, just got a call, and I didn't want to tell on the neighbor, so I don't have neighbor issues. So I said, I just got a call from the HOA, and I guess there's a tree out in front. She's like, oh, yeah, that tree. Can you believe the UPS truck hit that? I'm like, well, wait a minute. That wasn't in the story.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, and I told them to go out, and it was already, the branch was already knocked down. It's dead, but it's still kind of hanging on to the tree. And so I told them down there, go down there, knock that tree off, and let's get that into what we have a big pickup that comes around with the
like
truck.
A bulk trash
bulk
pickup.
trash.
Yeah.
And let's get that in the bulk trash, and let's get that. It's an eyesore.
Yeah.
So her kids are out there, and now I'm listening to this going, wait. This whole story's changing. But what's interesting is this listen, empathize. I use this on her, too.
Right, yeah.
In my communication, right? I had this at the original phone call.
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of calling her, your kids are just the worst, and am I going to have to evict you for, and getting all upset about it. I went into it, just, okay, now let me hear, and I listened, and then I empathized, and I was almost like, well, I'm apologizing, I'm even calling you. That's a good deed that they did, right? And then I told her that I would notify the HOA for them, even though I didn't want to say neighbor. Maybe she's listening to this. I'm giving away my secrets, so sorry, Nikki. But anyways, I didn't want to create neighbor problems, so I just kind of used the HOA as an example. But the situation ended up being totally different than what it was presented for me. So if I freaked out and I created problems when there really weren't problems, I would have looked not real smart.
Yeah.
Right? So I wanted to come talk about how do we as landlords deal with tough situations. And so I want you to give me a couple situations.
Perfect.
That
I get to play host for a minute.
Yeah, you take over the mic and put me on the spot. Okay. And I can't even tell you that I'm going to pass this, but I'm going to try my best.
Well, we're going to give you a couple of situations.
Okay, perfect.
Let's think. We live in Phoenix, right? So the number one issue in Phoenix between the months of May and September is my air conditioning. So, David, I'm your tenant, and I woke up this morning in a sweaty mess. It's 100 degrees in my house. It's 110 degrees outside. What are you going to do about it?
Right. So I get the phone call, and
yeah. Hey, David. You know what? Hey, I'm. It's hot over here, and
this is ridiculous.
This is ridiculous. I can't expect to be living in these kind of conditions. It's 110 degrees outside.
I pay you my rent every month, and I expect perfect.
Yeah, I should have no problems with this home.
Right.
You cash the check. I expect perfection.
And I get that phone call.
Okay.
So, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. There is no real way that I can tell when an air conditioning is going to go out. But I completely understand because I wouldn't want to be sitting in 105 degrees. And I'm sure your morning has not been the easiest. And I'm sure your family, and you're probably questioning, should we go to a hotel? It's tough. And I get that. And I really apologize that air conditioning unit went out. Working yesterday, doesn't work today. It happens. But here's the key. What can we do to get you comfortable again, right?
Right.
So let me make sure I understand the whole situation before I call my AC guy to make sure when he comes out, he's going to be able to help you the first time he comes out because he understands the problem. This morning at 8 o'clock, you noticed your house is heating up.
Yes.
You're reading right now at about 102 degrees.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And man, that's hot. So I don't know if you can go out. You're going off to work today or going off to school today, but I'm going to try by the time you get back from work to have that guy there And it's really hot out right now. He might be busy, but I'm going to do my best to get him over there right away. But I'm going to notify you. Can I text you?
Absolutely.
When he comes over?
Yeah. You've got my cell
Can
number.
I give him your number and have him contact you directly to make sure you get that cool air on?
That would be great.
Possible.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that'd be
Perfect.
awesome.
I want you comfortable over there, and I appreciate all you do. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
So
feeling pretty good now.
That's how I would handle that one.
Yeah.
Now, that's an easy conversation if the person was mellow as they called me.
Sure.
You're mellow, you stay mellow, but they call kind of heated. It's my job to bring it down,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because I've got some stuff that I've got to figure out. So did I do okay there?
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, that was
Okay.
great.
I listened. I empathized. I apologized. I restated the issue so I can make sure my AC guy knew, did it freeze up?
Right.
Is it a whole new unit? Whatever. Has this happened before? Did you turn off the unit for a while to let it unthaw? I mean,
Yeah.
these
'cause it
things
frees
that
up,
I'm
right, yeah.
restating so I can tell my AC guy, and then I notify.
Right.
And then the follow-up is huge. The notify is huge because I've notified him I'm going to help him, but now if he doesn't hear from me for 2 or 3 days, what do you think the next phone call I'm going to get is, right? So I've got to follow up
Yeah.
in order to keep the situation
Yeah.
calm down.
The next phone call, he's lit up and he's ready to
Yeah.
come. He's going to be in your pool this afternoon
Yeah.
if we're not careful.
And soon I'm like, well, I empathize. No, you don't. If you empathize with me, you would already had it. And,
Right.
and this only works if you follow up
Yeah.
with it completely.
But I think this method or this idea helps to diffuse situations, right? It doesn't.
Right.
You're not combative. You're like, well, you were late with your rent last month, so
Right.
that's your own fault, right? I mean,
Right.
you're very calm and
Because he might be re-signing another year's lease in a month or two.
For sure,
And I
yeah.
want him, and I want to maybe kick up the rent a little bit, and I want them to stay,
yeah,
But if he just had this situation with me, I didn't handle it great, then I've got to turn. And that
Mhm.
turn's going to cost me $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. And he's not going to be really happy leaving, so he's probably not going to leave the place in a great condition.
Right.
I mean, it just, handling this call actually means more than you really think it does.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm going to throw one more situation at you here.
All right.
And this is the nightmare, I'm sure, of every landlord.
Oh, boy. Putting me on
Okay.
the spot here.
Phone rings.
Okay.
Hey, David, Scott, I know it's April 3rd and my rent's due April 5th. Dude, things have been rough over here. My kid had to go into the ER last night. I had to pay cash. I'm not going to have your rent check for you on the 5th. I can probably have it for you maybe by the 8th or 9th. Is that okay? Are we good with that? You good? Good moving forward?
Well, Scott, first of all, I'm sorry that happened to you. I understand that, my family gets sick and things happen, and man, life's tough sometimes.
Yeah.
And I apologize that you felt that way. And I understand your family's sick, and we certainly want the best for you. We really do. But this puts me in a position that I'm kind of in a tough position here because I too have a family that I want to keep healthy and financially healthy,
Mhm.
and I've got a mortgage coming up. And if I owned the property free and clear and maybe it didn't hurt me so much, maybe I could do that. But my position puts me into, you've put me in a bad situation if I don't get the rent. So maybe there's another option for us. Do you have a church that maybe you attend that you could talk to?
I could probably talk to somebody there.
Do you have any friends or family? Do you have a credit card? You can put a credit card through your Rent Perfect portal.
Okay.
I know that's not ideal. I know that's not what you want to hear. I want to help, but there's only so much I can do.
Okay.
So if you could, please notify me where you're at so we can make this the easiest possible transition or payment or conclusion that we possibly can come up with. And once again, I'm sorry for your situation. I hope things are better for you in the
Yeah.
future.
I appreciate you being understanding.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Tough situation.
It is tough. So let me kind of touch into my resources and see if I can't find a way to
Okay.
get you your rent in the next couple of days.
Okay, great. And then I'll just expect to hear back from you in maybe a couple days and
Yeah.
just kind of see where you're at.
Yeah, perfect.
And I wish you the best of luck on that.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thanks for being understanding.
Okay, so
I think you passed again.
what?
That's a tough situation, right?
That's a tough one. And I will tell you, I've talked about kind of being like coming back pretty hard sometimes, just
Yeah.
naturally, because I just don't slow down. But a problem that I have in my life is I am a rescuer,
okay.
right? Like if I have the means
You want to help.
someone,
Yeah.
I do. I like to give service. I like to help someone, and I try not to fall into that relationship with my residents, because the next month and the next, it creates this, now I am not your landlord, I am your savior.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to save your butt every
Mhm.
time, something happens wrong. And I don't really want to be in that position. We're business partners, but it is business, but I still have empathy.
Right.
And
Now let me ask you a quick question here.
Yeah.
This is the 5th month in a row I've been late on my payments, on my rent payments. Does that change the conversation?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. It changes it for me. I just realized that probably coming up at some point, you're leaving, whether it's by an eviction or you're just leaving. I can see that the relationship, as much as I want to keep it, great between us, I can just start preparing for
the lights at the end of the tunnel, and I know it's
the
coming.
Chances
fast.
of them like winning the lottery and getting financially healthy are tough.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why those are the toughest phone calls, because it's a problem today, but it's probably going to be a problem next month and the next month as they try to catch up. People are just living paycheck to paycheck, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we're seeing that today. It's March. This coronavirus scare is going on here in the United States, and everyone who's scrambling and petrified are people who are living paycheck to paycheck, right? They're going to the grocery stores. They're cleaning out the grocery stores. It creates a panic, and if we all had a little nest egg, if we had a little bit savings, then something like this wouldn't even be an issue for people. But landlords are going to run into this because these residents, applicants, tenants, whatever you want to call them, live paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah. That's just the unfortunate truth.
That's unfortunate, and that's part of our industry, and it's part of what we deal with, part of the business.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'd be homeowners.
Yeah.
For the most part, right? So, well, I think you did a great job answering questions, and I appreciate the chance to play host for just a couple minutes. So
that's awesome. That was fun.
Thank you.
I seriously, I really respect the person that just has this learn kind of concept just down in their demeanor. I hope someday that it just is my everyday go-to. Yeah. But until then, I'm just going to keep continuing to put it in my brain, stop myself. That's the only way we can change, right?
Absolutely, yeah. This is good information, I think.
Well, you're the right guy to have this, though. There's no
Thank you.
expertise on this.
No.
It's just a method. It's a tool that you can use if you have someone that calls you that's heated. We want to keep good relationships with our applicants. Then they continue to pay the rent. They take care of our property. And I appreciate your time today. Is there anything that you want to throw in there before we wind this up?
I think we're good, man. I think thank you.
We covered conflict then, huh?
Yeah, see, and I'm diffusing this whole conflict right now.
Okay, great. Well, we appreciate it. Thanks for being here today on the Rent Perfect podcast. We love it if you subscribe, follow other podcasts that we've done. We really are just trying to bring education, whether it's about rental properties or about being a landlord or maybe just life in general. But until next time, just continue to rent perfect.